Hello and welcome to the show that hunts for hidden treasures in the homes of the famous and then sells them for them at auction to raise money for good causes. Today I'm in London's Primrose Hill. Now this whole area is chock full of celebrities and I'm about to meet one of its most remarkable. Today's celebrity was educated at Harrow, don't you know, and became a sports journalist. He has the most impressive sideburns on television and is a master of synchronised hand-waving. And a final clue, he has a penchant for tweed, diet cola and has, shall we say, rather old-fashioned views. I'm about to meet the man that many consider to be the face of horse racing in Britain, and it is, of course, John McCririck. And on today's Cash in the Celebrity Attic, John is sceptical about the value of some of his items.
Yeah, it is unbelievable that we get 60 quid for that.
Spending a day with John makes me want to let off steam. Make way! Racing correspondent coming through! And when we get to auction, what are John's chances on the podium?
50 quid last bid, no, 50 it is!
Find out when today's celebrity collectibles go under the hammer. This lovely Mews house in North London has been John McCririck's home for 20 years. Married to Jenny, known affectionately as The Booby, they dote on their two yellow Labradors, Hayes and Copper. From low-key betting shop beginnings in the 1960s, John's worked his way up the sports journalism ladder to become a famous face as a racing pundit. Well, it's time to place our bets and see if the Cash in the Attic team can keep John on a tight rein so that he raises plenty of money for his favourite charity. Morning, John.
Morning, Angela.
Now, are you a betting man?
Well, I do like a good day at the races. Mind you, I never seem to have much luck. Perhaps I could pick up a few tips from John.
You might have time to do that, but what we really want you to do is concentrate on finding winners in the collectible stakes, because we want to raise a lot of money for a charity that's very close to John's heart.
I'll do my very best.
Go and meet him. John and Jane. John enjoying a cup of tea out of a Newcastle mug.
Away the lads.
Away the lads.
It's been a tough season. I'm doing my bit to contribute to the finances of the club.
Right. And who are these two members of the family?
Booby.
The little one is Hayes, who is a girl, and that's Copper.
So why do you call your Mrs. Booby?
Oh, it's a wonderful name for her. The boobies are these pathetic South American birds that they're so strange that they are on aircraft runways and they can't fly very well, so they're mown down by the aircraft. They squawk a lot and they're just like boobies and they flap around. They're always flapping. So she really is a booby, and she's everything. She's got her cards, booby, and this, that, and the other. And the most asked question, and before you do it, Andrew, you ask millions of people so many questions. The question that everybody asks the booby is, how do you possibly put up with him? That's the most asked question that she gets.
Well, I'm going to be asking her later when you're not around, so she'll be able to tell me.
Oh, not the truth, I hope.
John, there's no doubting that this is a house where, apart from the fact that you clearly love to have photographs of yourselves.
I know. It is pathetic. No, just don't go there. It is so pathetic that anyone has pictured themselves up. Everything.
All over the walls.
It is sad. It is absolutely a sign of insecurity, a failure. It is terrible.
But
terrible,
not just that. Loads and loads of stuff in the house. References to racing, horse racing, to horses. I mean, you've got a house that's full of stuff. You're happy for them to go to auction then, are you, John?
Yes, I think so. We've got so much stuff, and the only thing is the programme's Cash in the Attic. Of course, we haven't got an attic, so we're scrabbling around. If we only wish we had room to have an attic, but we'll scrub around and get a few things and one or two surprise items.
So, Jenny, tell me about the charity that you've decided to give the money to.
We've chosen Greatwood, which is a horsey charity to do with racing. And in racing, as with greyhounds, we have a problem with horses that retire from racing. Maybe they've been ill-treated, they've been dumped, and we've got to do something about it. So there are these centres, and as I say, Greatwood is one of them, that they take in so many horses and hopefully move them on to other disciplines. They might go eventing, dressage, or maybe they'll go for a companion to another horse with somebody in a field, and they'll have a home for life.
So, John, how much do you reckon that you're going to be able to raise for them?
Well, we're hoping a monkey, £500, but I think it's going to be far, far less than that. It's a lot of rubbish we're giving in, but one or two things that you won't have seen before. So a monkey, £500, I bet under, not over.
You're doing yourself down. I'm sure we're going to raise much more than that. So, it's a good cause. Shall we get to work?
Yes.
Come on, then.
Come on.
And we're off. Every inch of wall and floor space in this house is crammed with horse racing memorabilia. So let's hope that we can make rather more than a monkey. With over 25 years' experience in the world of antiques, our valuations expert Jonty Herndon is already champing at the bit. You rang the bell, Jonty, and summoned us.
There we are. Here we come.
Well, how about this?
Yes, go on.
Can't be more apt than finding something like this in your house, John. What's the story? Because this is a table bell, but in the shape, of course, you've got the horseshoe and the riding cap on the top.
And the stirrups on the side.
Yeah.
Well, you always remember sort of boxing. You can start the rounds and
Yes.
all that sort of thing. And
Well, we start off pretty well finding
I'm
this.
not too impressed with this wretched thing. How's it going?
It's not true, then, that you use it to summon the booby.
You've got other bells to do that, have you, in the
It
house?
certainly isn't quite as bad as
What's
that.
the story behind this table
Come
bell?
on, Booby, what's the story?
Well, it was given by a friend some time ago, and I'm sure he'd be pleased if we gave it for charity.
Yeah, so you don't use it at all. There's
No,
no
no.
function for this at all.
No,
is
it
there?
isn't. I think it's a hideous, but don't say anything about it. So it's one thing we're pleased to get rid
Yes.
of.
I mean, it doesn't really have very much age to it at all. It's a complete novelty item, which would be fantastic for the auction, because if we put that in, with your name attached to it, we're off to a winner. Yeah, we've got a winner there already.
I don't know.
But you can't sell that by itself, so I found something else.
Oh, go on,
You
go
hold
on.
that
Well,
for
we
me.
need something else. Oh, Lord, you've got this.
Now, this is something that must be
Yeah.
close to your heart, a hip flask
Yes,
on a cold winter's day at the races.
Indeed.
Yes?
A glass of sherry in there, yes,
Yeah.
very nice.
Have you
yes.
used it?
No, I haven't used it.
Not
when
at
was it
all.
last used? I just don't
Well,
when
it
was
looks
last
like
used, Booby?
I can't imagine.
It looks like we've had liquid on the inside here.
Yes.
Now, it's very good to see a hip flask with a glass inner,
Why is that?
because if it's metal, you get the metallic taste
Oh, yes.
coming through
Yeah.
to the liquid. Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah,
that's very good news.
Are they relatively rare with glass?
It's more unusual,
Yeah.
and it's good sign to see.
Yeah.
Now, this hip flask here would be even better if we had a metal top.
Oh, no.
But these are pewter, so it's not the end of the world.
No.
But the leather bottom here is also in very good condition as well.
I'm really interested, the glass bit that you're saying really makes sense. That
Yes.
if you ever have a hip flask, have it of glass, not a metal or anything like
Yes.
that.
So if
You've also found two things that we can take to auction. So
Yes.
what sort of price are you going to put on?
Well, what auctioneers do all day long is if they find items that may not necessarily be sold by themselves, they look for a complementary item to go in the auction sale. So if you do go to an auction sale and have a look at the various items, then that's the reason why they've been gathered together. The auctioneer has tried
yes.
to make them
So if you want
complementary.
one, you've got to get the other as
Yes,
well. And
yeah.
all that,
And
So-
also to maximise the amount of money you're
Yeah,
likely
of
to
course,
make.
yeah.
So we'll put these two in together,
Yeah, go on.
and we're going to get sort of £40 to £60 for them. Okay.
That's not bad, is it?
Well, I love them.
Well, I'd be very pleased to get rid of that. Yeah.
I'm sure the friend who gave you this won't be offended, John. After all, it is for charity. Our first bit of racing memorabilia of the day is this Bentley Cars blackboard, chalked up with sporting prices and worth between £20 and £30. The rummage gathers pace and Jenny heads out to the garden where she discovers this late Victorian star-shaped light shade, valued between £40 and £70. Jonty's next find is this Victorian riding crop with a hallmarked silver band, valued between £20 and £35. And as if one John McCririck weren't enough, Jenny's found another, smaller version of her larger-than-life husband.
Look what I found.
Oh, what is it? Oh, no.
What's this?
Booby. Oh, no.
Isn't it fun?
It's Little John.
Oh, no, but it's even worse, isn't it? Oh, what are you doing to me?
It's fun. It's fun.
Unbelievable! Double carpet, 33 to 1. Burlington Bertie, 100 to 30.
Imagine waking up or going to bed at night with that the last voice you hear.
Where was he from?
Well, it's the Grand National Promotion, and some poor sort of punters got hold of this. It's really sad, but imagine waking up to that or going to sleep with that. Unbelievable.
You can't buy that in a shop.
It's great fun. Now, ordinarily, if this was to come up on the open market, you're probably not going to get more than a tenner for him, okay? But if we're going to put him into the auction sale, can we put him into auction sale?
Yes.
It'd be so much fun.
fun,
if we
isn't
could.
it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you could sell him,
Yeah, right.
I'm going to get you up on the
Okay.
rostrum,
Okay.
all right?
Oh, God,
okay?
yes, yeah.
Because all of this is going to be such a hoot.
Right.
We're going to bring in as much money as we possibly can for the charity. So if you're up on that
Yeah,
rostrum,
go for it.
we're not going to do a tenner.
No.
We're going to do more like 50 quid up
well,
there,
that's
all right?
amazing. You can't
so
say
that's your challenge.
Not 50 quid.
So if I'm going to put a value today of
Yes.
40 to 60 pounds, it's your job to get more than that.
That's steep.
Is that a good challenge?
No, that's really steep.
No, no. If it was in a memorabilia auction, you would get things like that.
No,
And
we're gonna
especially
do
for
it.
charity.
Yeah.
A charity.
That's your job, John, your challenge. All right?
The burden.
Pop him back in the box.
Back
All right?
Let's hear him once again.
Yeah.
Listen.
Unbelievable!
Yeah, it is unbelievable that we get 60 quid for that.
So let's hope the fans are there on auction day when John will encourage the bidders to buy a little piece of him. As I leave Jonty and Jenny to continue the rummage, I think it's time that I found out a little more about the man behind the whiskers. Just as I get to work, I find yet another mini John McCririck. John, you're looking at one of the items there in this house that doesn't have your image on it.
Well, there's not enough double chins there. That's what it's terrible, isn't it?
Fantastic.
It's terrible.
Is this a one-off done
It
especially
is,
for you?
yes. Somebody did it. Some sort of Channel 4 viewer did it, and it was terrific. I'm really
He's got you
really
down
proud.
to a T, hasn't he?
I'm
Even
afraid
down
so.
to the pen
I know,
round
I
your
know,
neck.
I know, but surely the stomach's not large enough, and certainly the double chins.
They were being very, very kind.
I think
to
they
you,
were.
John,
I think
weren't
they were.
But it's a great piece, though, isn't it?
It is great fun,
because
yeah.
it sort of sums you up, doesn't it? With all the jewellery,
Yeah, I know.
the fact that you're such a showman, the chops round
I
here.
know. Well, I take them off at night. So
Do you? That's all right then. Yeah.
all right.
John, how did you get interested in horse racing in the first place?
Well, I was a school bookmaker at Harrow with Julian Wilson, who used to be the BBC racing correspondent. He got me into grandstand, so the old school tie did work in the old days. And always follow the horses. I think it was a thing that you really hoped that you wouldn't have to work for a living. That somehow you'd be able to back racehorses, go swimming around racehorses, the bookies would give you money, you didn't have to work. Well, I soon was disillusioned with that. And I always remember, Angela, I'm a failed punter, a failed bookmaker. I've worked for a street bookmaker. I worked when betting shops opened in 1961. I worked in betting shops. I was a boardman and I was a settler, 50 pence bets and all the huge pile that I had to settle. And worked on the racecourse. Floorman, tic-tac, clerk, etc. Failure at everything. So everybody says bookmakers make money. Look at me.
Well, you've not been a failure at being the face of Channel 4 racing,
no,
though,
but
have you?
Angela, you're great. You know all about newsreading and everything. In the old days, there were a couple of newsreaders, Frank Phillips and Alval Liddell, virtually, and nobody else. So no comparison. When you came along, and many, many more now, thousands with hospital radios, local radios, television, everything. There are so many. So the competition is fierce. There's still only one fat fool walking around betting ring, shouting and screaming, waving his arms around. So they don't know how bad I am because they can't compare. Otherwise, everybody else, you can compare them. With me, I'm on my own, so it's very, very great thing. If ever you can get a job that nobody else does, and nobody else probably wants to do it anyway, or wants to have anybody to do it, that's a great incentive because you can't be compared.
How did you meet the Booby?
Well, at a party. The trouble is, she had this dog called Simon, a yellow Labrador, and I've always wanted a dog, but never been able to sort of arrange it and have one and all that sort of thing. She had this, and I fell in love with Simon. He was a magnificent yellow Labrador. So the only way I could sort of take him out for walks and get hold of him was to sort of go after the Booby. So I pretended it was the Booby. I was really after the dog. So the Booby came as a mate weight in the package. At the end of a bit of a string was the Booby. So I got hold of Simon, and the Booby came along, and she's clung on to me. I threatened to kick her out. I'm sick of the woman. She's old, her body's sagging. I'm tired and fed up with her. I keep on saying I'm going to chuck you out, but she begs for another 24 hours, and she'll try and change. So you're looking sceptical. You don't believe all this.
You would be lost without her,
Well,
John.
you may very well think that. I couldn't possibly comment.
Tell me very briefly then about this charity that we're going to give the money to.
Well, I believe in racing we should look after our own. Now, these wonderful horses who are great warriors, they're given great fun to us all. What happens at the end of their racing careers? Now, most owners do look after them and their pets, but a lot of people can't, who live in towns and that sort of thing, and where they go to. And the Greatwood is a fantastic sort of sanctuary for them, rehabilitation of horses. And the great thing that they do is get children involved, disabled children go to Greatwood and can sit on the horse and imagine the thrill, sitting on a horse and being led round. It gives them a total new sort of aspect on life. And they can see horses, and horses are wonderful creatures, and they don't harm anybody. And I get one or two sort of bite occasionally, but they are absolutely fantastic. And in racing, I believe if we don't look after the horses, no one else is going to do it.
It's a great cause, John, and you've got a house full of stuff. So shall we go and see what else we can find?
Well, we'll try and find something, yes. We'll do our best. Here we go. Oh, dear.
After our chat, John seems even more complex than I first thought. A heart of gold when it comes to horses and dogs, but like everyone else, I do have to ask, how does poor Jenny put up with it? I'll take her aside a little later and try and find out. In the meantime, Jenny makes the next discovery. Certainly something for sports collectors, but amazingly nothing to do with horses.
What about this? Is this of use, do you think?
What you got there?
1997 cap?
So, this is not horsing memorabilia at all.
No, but he loves the big fight. John loves the big fights. And he was there and he thought you might like that.
He was actually at the boxing match. So what we've got here, it says Holyfield Tyson 2. And got the date here. You see that? June 28th, 1997.
A long time ago.
This was the fight. This was an infamous night
When
for boxing.
Tyson bit the ear.
He bit Holyfield's ear, which was the night that he got his licence revoked as a consequence. It's so infamous, it's often known as Bite Night.
So, but it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah?
I think it's great fun.
Yeah.
Because it's such an infamous night for boxing, I think it will sell.
Right.
You know, we've even down on the back here, we've got MGM Grand Las Vegas, which is where the fight took place. Value, I suppose, what, 30, 40, maybe £50. So it's not bad, is it? Not bad. Little flat cap we've got there. Is that all right if we can put that into the auction sale?
Have it.
Very good, excellent. Any more like that?
I don't know, let's go and have a look.
Nothing more quite like that piece of sporting history, but we do come across this Cheltenham 2008 T-shirt, signed by John and racing celebrities Tony McCoy, Paul Nicholls and Nicky Henderson. It's valued between £50 and £80. John finds this Edwardian nurse's belt with a pierced hallmarked silver buckle, which someone could snap up for £20. And Jenny digs out this swan pen, valued between £30 and £40. We're on fine form for the rummage today, but the stakes are high as we really do want to raise that £500, or a monkey in betting terms, for the retired racehorse charity Greatwood. So on we go. I've headed out to the garden to keep on hunting and got a little sidetracked with my next find. Make way! Racing correspondent coming through! John, I have a wonderful vision in my mind of you hurtling around Cheltenham on this bicycle. Is that what you used to do with it?
Well, not quite Cheltenham, no, but this is one of three, the only one that's left. This is Herman. Hermesita was red and Hermione was black, and they've sort of gone to the great bicycle shop in the sky. But this is still Herman here, and how he survived, I don't know.
Did you actually used to use this bicycle?
Oh, yes. Oh, hundreds of times, weaving out of the traffic.
Where? I mean, when you were at the race
in the centre,
courses,
no, centre of London, of London.
John, it needs some real work on it if we're going to get sort of top dollar for it at auction. But I would strongly suggest we give it provenance. So I want to see you on this tricycle. I would even like to see you with a picture of you on this tricycle so that we can sell it. Because if we want to whip up the enthusiasm for your charity, then that's the way we're going to do it. Because, John, it's a real rust bucket.
I know it is. Well, I'll jock off Angela. That's the thing. You're jocked off, Angela. Come on, off you go, girl. Off you go, girl.
There you go. You're going to
jocking
ride
off Angela.
There you go.
There's nobody who ever had to ride a horse with jock off Angela and put me on it, but there we go. Oh, dear.
That's what we like to see.
It brings back my old days of doing this. Absolutely, it does. I did it for about 20 years.
Did you what? You used to keep a copy of the Sporting Life?
Sporting Life, all sorts of things. Yeah, your files and all that thing. I used to work for the BBC on Grandstand, and the midweek racing was done from BH Broadcasting House, right in the basement there, which has now been torn down, as you know. And I used to go from the Sporting Life to BH on the bicycle and dart back to do my work just after about 4 o'clock when the midweek racing was over. So
well, I tell you what then, John, you're under starter's orders. How much are we going to make for Mr. We think? Well,
how much? Come on.
I reckon that we can get about £100, but if I put £60 to £80, we should be there.
60 to 80
it costs about 500 or 600 quid new, you know.
Yeah, I know, but it's not new. Go on.
And it's antique.
It's very antique, John. It's very antique.
Well, I don't know.
You're under starter's orders, John.
And they're whipping it.
60 to 80
under
pounds.
pressure. Oh, it's collapsing under my weight.
And let's see how much more money we can make. Off you go.
Well, Jonty calls it a rust bucket. I'm actually infuriated by that, but I think somebody who's dedicated really worked at it. The basis is there. And I attached to it, yes, it was a means of transport, but it always carried overweight. It needs a lighter jockey.
After all that, I deserve a sit down on something more comfortable than an old trike, and with someone less madcap than John. So I grabbed my chance to have a quiet chat with his long-suffering wife. Jenny, you're known universally as The Booby, which is John's sort of pet name for you. But his description of how he came by the term is not very flattering. Do you mind it?
It's fine, it's just sort of a nickname, it doesn't matter at all.
Because he does have quite a bad reputation for his rather strong opinions. Do you think he deserves that?
Deep down, he's quite kind. And for instance, with Greatwood, he thinks a lot about them and they do a brilliant job. And he's not really as dreadful as people make out. I think if you meet people, you're always going to have some people, you look at them and say, oh, everything wonderful and wonderful, it lasts for 5 minutes. And then there are other people you can actually live with in your life and you can get on with them as people. And I think it's very important if you're married to somebody or you're living with somebody that you're great friends and you trust them and you're honest with each other. I think there are a lot of people, both sexes, that you can't feel like that with. And we've all known it, and I think that's terribly important.
So, should we go and see what else we've got in the house that we're going to take?
Good idea.
OK. They do say opposites attract, and it seems that really is the case with John and Jenny. But something they both clearly share is a love of horses. So John's next find is no surprise. Let's hope this 1994 Japan Cup jacket will be odds-on favourite on auction day and raise at least £40. In the final furlong of our rummage today, we discovered two very different examples of Japanese ceramics. This red and gilt three-piece Kutani tea set is valued between £35 and £45, while Jenny digs out this black and white tea bowl worth at least £40. With the finishing post in sight, my final discovery comes as something of a surprise, given that John is known for his conservative politics. John, I found something I'm very familiar with, but I didn't expect to find it in your house.
Yes.
A miner's lamp. See, my father's family were all miners in County Durham. And I've actually got one of these that used to belong to one of my uncles. But how did you come by this?
Well, I think miners are extraordinary people. Brave, people who go down on jobs that none of us would do. I wouldn't go on a conducted tour of a mine. And early in the 90s, when the Labour Party was shooting up in the polls, at Southwell Racecourse, there was a miners' rally, and Robin Cook asked me to go. He became Foreign Secretary, member and leader of the House, and Alan Meale, the local Mansfield MP, and there were thousands of miners there rallying to try and sort of keep their jobs. And I spoke, and it was a really emotional, moving moment. And at the end, they gave me a miners' lamp. And this really is treasured, Angela, because I know the thousands of men who've gone down and done a job that none of us would do, let alone most of us wouldn't even go down a mine. So I do value this very much.
John, do you take a look at it? What can you tell us about them?
Well, just looking as you were speaking, I could see clearly that this has never been used. So I suspect that this lamp is not particularly old, so I'm saying therefore it's not an antique as such. But all the information should be on the outside, and if you look at this label here, this is the manufacturer's label. Now, this company was established in 1873, and they patented the safety lamp. And this one is the Type 6. And this particular lamp was bought by the government en masse, really, from 1947 to 65. So there's every likelihood this is probably an early 1960s lamp that has never been used.
How much do you think it'll raise?
Well, because it's new, I can't put too much on it, because these are the collector's lamps are really earlier than this particular model.
Same as your uncle's.
So we are talking at auction between £40 and £60. But because of your story, it would be very nice to try and sell that story somehow in the auction, because I think that's a really moving story. And if we could get a little bit more for charity, wouldn't that be fantastic?
As in tribute to those brave men. Yeah.
But because it is something that is so personal to you and that you do have such very strong feelings about, maybe you want to think about it between now and going to the auction. It's very portable. You can always turn up with it on the day and we'll decide then. But I tell you what, I'm going to tell you how much money we think we're going to raise. So, Jenny, do you want to come and join us?
Come on, Booby.
Because Jonty's just taken a look at the miner's lamp here. He said we can get at least £40 for it, we think. Yeah. Now, you want £500 for your charity, don't you?
At least.
At least. Well,
preferably more.
Preferably more. But if we leave out the miner's lamp, John, then at Jonty's lowest estimates, we would hope to raise £465.
Oh, that's not bad.
With the miner's lamp, it comes to £505.
That makes it even worse.
But no pressure, John. No pressure.
Absolutely no pressure.
Let's just wait and see what happens when we get to auction. It's going to be a great day.
Right, lovely.
With the rummage over, let's review the most interesting items heading for the sale room. There's the talking McCririck miniature worth between £40 and £60. Sporting memorabilia that has nothing to do with horses, the cap from the famous Bite Fight, the Tyson versus Holyfield boxing match of 1997, valued at £30. And how can we forget John's old banger of a trike with a very optimistic price tag of between £60 and £80. And we'll have to wait until the auction to find out whether John decides to include the miner's lamp, as he's clearly so attached to it. But it could boost the fund by £40. Next on Cash in the Celebrity Attic, when John's items go to auction, which will be the thoroughbreds?
Oh, we did well. Oh, we did well. We did well.
And which will be put out to pasture?
Herman has never been more humiliated in his life.
Find out when the final hammer falls. Well, a couple of days ago, there we were with John McCririck and his wife Jenny, better known as Booby, in their character-filled home in Primrose Hill. And today, here we are at the Chiswick Auction Rooms in West London. Now, we were with John looking for antiques and collectibles that he could sell to raise £500 for his favourite charity, which helps retired racehorses. So let's hope we can get those bidders under starters' orders and get some real winners today. Joining me for the auction is, of course, our very own antique hunter, Jonty. He's obviously been spending too much time around John. You rang, sir.
Oh, it works.
Well, it's in its rightful place, isn't it? Because I suppose it would have been on a dining room table somewhere so that the lady of the house could summon the servants.
I have one in my house, and every time I ring it, my wife brings in the next course.
I'm sure she does. But do we think it's going to do well today?
It's a wonderful decorative object. Not only that, it's synonymous with horse racing, and it's related to John, so I think it's a wonderful object. Great. Didn't we have fun in that house?
We did, but then we've brought a lot of sporting memorabilia here today, haven't we?
Yes, like the jacket.
Uh-huh.
That's a sort of wonderful, iconic jacket that I think will sell, because there's going to be lots of enthusiasm to purchase items like that. Mm-hmm. The market's crazy for those sorts of things. Even down to the sporting hat, the Holyfield Tyson fight. Great little object. I'm sure that will sell.
What about what you dubbed the rust bucket, though?
Yes, well, that's just like a sporting icon a bit too far.
But we did have a big question mark over whether or not he was going to bring that miner's lamp, didn't we?
Yes, that's true. What a wonderful story that was.
I know.
And if he does bring it, then I'm sure that will all help towards the target, because we're aiming for that £500 because every penny counts.
Absolutely. And with a great character like John, I think we're going to have fun today. Come on. Speaking of which...
33 to 1.
I recognise that voice. Having a last look at little John.
How handsome am I? No.
Yes, very. Isn't he, Booby?
You're lost for words.
How do you feel about the auction today?
Well, I'm very pessimistic. The prices, Johnny, you've been putting on is ridiculous. I tell you that. I don't know what they're going to get, but far less than you put on. I'd love to bet over or under. I think it'll be way under your monkey. You put it over £500. Way under it'll be.
We're hoping to raise £500 for your favourite charity.
I don't think it's possible.
Well, you never know. You never know. Have you brought the miner's lamp, John?
Yes, I have. Reluctantly, as you know, because it's been there for so long. I think the sort of deciding factor was the miners themselves. I think they would say, yes, it comes. So it's just here, but extremely reluctantly.
And you've given him a challenge on this, haven't you, John?
I certainly have.
What have you done?
Are you up for the challenge?
Yeah,
No, you're going to be
what
selling
have
it
you-
on the rostrum today, aren't you, John?
Oh, that's an impossibility. What do you mean?
No, it's not.
No, oh, dear. I'm not. I could do it.
Your challenge to get £50.
Ridiculous.
But we've got a long way to go before that because it's one of the last items
Is
in
it?
the auction today. But look, I think we better go and take our places and make sure we get prime position.
Yes, a good
Come on, baby.
pitch. We want a good pitch.
That's what we
track
want.
draw.
Yes.
Good track draw.
We're in for a treat if we manage to get John up on the auctioneer's podium. But either way, we're glad that the miner's lamp hasn't been scratched from the sale. The auctioneer's in place, the bidder's arms are at the ready, so let's hope we don't fall at the first fence.
Okay, this is a little Katani tea set. Where was this from?
I don't know. Where's Katani from?
Japan.
Oh, I see. Yes. I don't know. Where did we get it from, Booby?
Your aunt.
Oh, yes.
It's very delicate china. I can't really see it in your hand at all, John.
One thing I hate in restaurants is tiny little cups of coffee. So these small things here, I don't like them. I like a big mug and chunk it down.
Well, let's hope somebody else does want it
Yeah.
at 35 to 45 pounds, Jonty.
Right.
Here it comes.
Number 40A, is that worth £40 for it? Cider shop, £40, well painted, £30 for it, £20, I'm bid at £20, you give me 22 at £20, take 2 at £20. Do you want 22, 22, 25, 28, 30, 32, 35, 38, 40? Yes or no? 40, 42, at £40. One more bid, please. 42, 45. Say no, at £42. See, but at £42, I'm saying at £42. Last chance, I'm gone. At £42.
Jonty, you should be a racing tipster. You're fantastic.
That's a very promising beginning, selling right on estimate. Our second piece of Japanese ceramic, the black and white tea bowl, also did well, selling for £38. Next up is the item that John found most difficult to let go of. We're hoping for at least £40 here.
Now, a bit of provenance with this one as well. Brass miner's lamp, as described there, given to John McCririck by the miners during the strike, or just after the strike in the 80s. 56A, the brass miner's lamp, start me £50 for it, please. Here it goes. £50 for it, £30 for it. I'm bid at £30, take 2 at £30, take 2 now. £30, 2, 5, 35, 38. Is bid 40, 42, 45.
We're going
That's
up.
better.
There was a bit of interest in this
50,
before, John.
that?
Yeah, so
Take 2 of L,
I'm encouraged.
£50. You want 2 at £50. A bid at £50. Take 2 at £50. That's the bid in at £50 and sold. £50.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah, well, it's in between reading what you said. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. I think the miners themselves will be pleased. The money goes to charity.
right in the middle of the estimate. And the sale of that miner's lamp has inched us ever closer towards our £500 target for the retired racehorse charity Greatwood. Next up is the horseshoe bell and hip flask combination lot, valued between £40 and £60.
You're going to bid? I'm bid at £30, take 32 at £30, take 2 at 30, taking 32, 35, 38.
Good heavens.
It's moving up.
42, 45, 48, 50, 5. Yes, and that £50, stand a bit of £50, take 5 at £50. Are you out at £50? Thank you, Terry. £50?
Well, saved by the bell.
Yes. You're fantastic, John T. I must say, if I could interpret the form book as you do here, I'd be a millionaire.
So, John T., are you a betting man? Maybe you could apply your estimation skills to the racecourse. Now, what are the odds of our next lot reaching its estimate?
Is that worth £50 for it? Is it worth £20 for it? I'm bid at £20, 22, 25, 28, 30, 32, 35.
Go on.
35, 38,
Go
40.
on.
40, 42,
Keep bidding.
45,
Keep bidding.
48,
There you are.
Oh, they keep going.
Keep bidding.
5, 60, 5, 60 bid. I'll take 5 at £60. You out, madam, at £60, saying all that £60 and gone for £60 then. You've got it.
Oh, we did well. Oh, we did well. We did well.
That was a terrific sale, galloping away with £60. The Bentley car blackboard also doubles its estimate, making £40. I wonder if our next item will be something to write home about. Coming up, a collector's swan pen. Perfect for signing your autograph, John, or for filling out your betting slips. What sort of price are we going to put on this one, John T?
Around the £30 mark, £30 to £40.
£30 for it, £20 for it. I'm bid at £20, you with 22 at £20, take 2 at £20. For the pen that goes at £20, take 2 at £20. A cheap pen then at £20, that's a bid at £20. 22 just in time, thank you. 22, 25, 28, 30, 2. 30's bid, you want 2, it's against you. Looking down at £30, saying without £30, 2 or not at £30. You've got it, £30.
You are fantastic. Honestly, this man, a miracle man. I can't believe it.
I tell you what, we're going to come down to the races. You're going to teach me how to back the horses.
I'm not. I'm going to
We could be leading John T down a slippery slope here. Let's move swiftly on to our next lot, our first piece of sporting memorabilia. Now, we've got a Cheltenham T-shirt, 2008. It's got some pretty famous names on it, John. There's John McCririck, you, Tony McCoy, Paul Nicholls, Nicky Henderson, Alan King. You've all signed it. And this is the kind of thing that I suppose at a big charity auction dinner would go through the roof. But what are we expecting it to do here, John T?
We're at a general sale, £50 here, but if it was somebody to buy it, donate it again, who knows, it could make hundreds. But today, we need £50.
A Cheltenham 2008 T-shirt signed by John McCririck. Tony McCoy.
Who's he? Do you know?
I just don't want him.
Paul Nicholls, Henderson and Alan King, all the top trainers as well there. 80A, and start me £30 for it. Worth £30 for it. £20 for it. I'm bid at £20, 22, 25, 25, 28, 30, 32, 35, 38.
Come on, we've only got £38 so far. We'd like a bit more.
£40, against you at £40. All done for £40, your last chance of going. The bid's there at £40 will be done.
It's not bad.
£40.
I'm satisfied with that. I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah?
A different audience would have got more, of course.
Now, John, if your name wasn't on there, we would have got £50.
Well, listen to him. Where they get him from?
Cheeky Jonty. Still, £40 is a very valuable addition to our Greatwood Fund. Next to go is that cap commemorating the infamous Tyson versus Holyfield boxing match in 1997 with a £30 to £50 estimate.
Obviously, Evander Holyfield minus part of his ear. So 270A, what's it worth? Good collector's lot, £50 for it, £50 for it, £40 for it. More than that, surely. £40 for it, £40 for it, £40, 42, 45, 48, 55. 5, thank you, 60, 5, 70,
got mo-
5.
Wow, I'm surprised at this.
The cap at £70, it sells all done. For £70, you're all out. £70, you've got it. £70.
I'm surprised at that. I'm surprised at that, yeah.
That's a good price for that,
That's done well
£70.
done, yeah, definitely.
An amazing result, fetching over double its lower estimate. You can never tell which lots are going to be popular at auction. But it is worth remembering that if you're planning on buying or selling at auction, you'll have to pay commission and possible other charges, so always check with your local auction house first. As the sale continues, the 1994 Japan Cup jacket was a favourite among the bidders and added £50 to our fund. With our next item coming up, valued between £20 and £35, it's pretty clear why John wants to get rid of it. John, you don't believe that jockeys should use a whip in riding, do you?
Well, beating animals in the name of sport is unacceptable. You cannot do that in the modern age. It turns people off racing. Racing will still go on without hitting horses. And you have to remember this as well, that if you put electrodes on their private parts, they're jerked forward faster. Unacceptable. So do away with hitting horses. Keep them in the reins. You're a rider. Keep them in the reins for straightening purposes, but don't hit animals.
£20 for it, £10 for it. Thank you, a bit at 10, it could be 12 at £10, 12 at 12, 15, 18, 20, 22,
Oh, here it's going up a bit.
28. Hesitating? No, at £25 in front of me, £25, take 8 to £25, down to 25 and gone. £25 there, 218,
Not
£25.
bad, yeah, it's not bad.
Good.
Not bad.
Very fittingly, the riding crop sold for a pony. That's £25 to you and me. A useful addition to our £500 target for those retired racehorses at Greatwood. Our Edwardian nurse's belt also did just what the doctor ordered, selling right on estimate at £30. With just 3 lots to go, next up is one of John's more idiosyncratic items, with a £60 to £80 price tag. Beep, beep.
Number 300A now. John, that's a worried grin, sorry.
Go on, Herman. He's not carrying overweight today.
No, he's hoping he's not on his way to the knacker's yard. Right, number 308 now, John McCririck's tricycle answers to the name of Herman. There we are. What should we say? It's got Harrow's label on it, needs a restorer's lot, £100 for it. £100 for it. It's obviously a sturdy bike, £100 for it, £50 for it. £30.
Herman's going for 30 to start with.
This is a shame.
£30. I've got a bit of £30. What do I do at £30? Take 2 or not? At £30? At £30? No, come and see me after. I'll see if I'll let you go for that. £30.
Oh dear! I told you. I really don't. Honestly, Herman has never been more humiliated in his life.
Oh dear, our first non-finisher of the day, with the auctioneer unwilling to let Herman go for the highest bid of £30. Our next lot is, let's say, something of a novelty item, especially if John's prepared to take the stand. This is your challenge, should you choose to accept, to get £50 for the talking John McCririck.
well, I'll try.
Are you ready? Under starter's orders?
You want to shame me again,
In the
don't
starting
you?
gate.
Yeah,
Off you go,
that's what
John.
you want to do.
Off you go.
God, the flowers are falling. It's like being in the pulpit here. So I'll preach to you all if I can get... Oh, my Lord.
It's stuck in the pitch.
Here he is. Now, this is a figurine of the fat arm-waving loudmouth. It's got too many double chins, and the stomach's not enlarged enough. But the added excitement is it speaks. Listen to this.
Extraordinary. Unbelievable. Double carpet, 33 to 1. Burlington Bertie, 130. Extraordinary.
So there you are. It talks, not so many double chins as I've got, less of a real whopping great bid. 5 pence. No. Come on, seriously. 100 quid. Anybody 100 quid. You can go to bed at night and play this.
Unbelievable.
And girls, the first thing you wake up in the morning is this.
Double carpet.
There we are. Come on, let's have a bid. 20 quid. 20 quid, thank you, sir. Any more bids? 20 quid down to me here. Any more? Any more? Thank you very much. 30 quid for the madam. You see the girls know something sexy, don't they? Come on, any more? 30 quid to the lady there. Any more? It's 30 quid. Come on, no more than 30 quid. Come on. That's 10, 10, 10, 30. Come on, let's get more than that. Come on, let's get a 50 in. Come on, 15 is yours. Yours for 50. Your last chance in life to own one of these. Come on. 50 quid. Where is it? It's nowhere.
He's
God.
falling at the
Last chance. You put your hand up, sir. Your hands up. Your hands up. 50 it is. Gentleman down there's got it to me. Oh, well done. Bang him in. Well done, sir. 50 quid. Save my life.
Unbelievable. It just goes to show the celebrity factor works in mysterious ways. So, we can relax now, as all that's left for me to do is add up today's totals. Now, we've come to the moment of truth with that.
Right. Yeah.
Because we've got to do a final tot-up now. And while you've been up there on the podium, I've been taking a look at how much money we think we might have made for Greatwood. And let me just have a quick look. You wanted to raise £500.
Yeah, I thought we never would.
You never thought you'd make... Right, well, I can tell you that with that last spurt to the finishing line...
That wonderful gentleman there.
And that terrific gentleman there, £50 has added to the total, and you've got...
We got that?
£575.
Fantastic. Well, John T, you really... This is the star of the show. Isn't he fantastic? Your understanding, your estimates are amazing. You said just over 500 quid. Absolutely right. But, you know, I can't believe it.
Greatwood in Wiltshire is dedicated to the rescue, rehabilitation and rehoming of racehorses that have fallen on hard times once their racing days are over.
Greatwood's a lovely cause. There's great old warriors. It'll help to feed them, look after the staff. The whole place is a joy to go to. And 575 quid, that buys quite a lot of oats.
Well, that £575 that John and Jenny raised at auction will go towards keeping the horses warm in winter. Founder and director Helen Yeadon knows what John's donation will mean for the horses.
We're absolutely thrilled with this money that John and Cash in the Attic have achieved for us. It's going to be absolutely marvellous because it does mean that we can actually buy more coats. We've had more horses we've had to rescue this year. So it's an absolute delight for us all, and we're over the moon to Cash in the Attic and John for this quite wonderful donation.
While the horses are being retrained to lead happy and useful lives, they also provide pleasure for children to enjoy the thrill and opportunity of being around horses.
We have some 13 schools visiting us. We have a special needs teacher, and the teachers and the parents have reported to us that they have seen quite remarkable transformations in the children that have visited us.